And this comes to my biggest disagreement with my favorite of the so-called new atheists, which is Sam Harris. He uses the word pretty extensively, and I think he tends to use it in sort of a taking the word back sort of sense.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's an it to take back. I think that though he isn't intentionally being misunderstood, I think he may be inadvertently causing misunderstanding with his use of this word. Yeah. I know that he may be unintentionally doing what Deepak Chopra does in a very dishonest, intentional way. So I guess we're going to go through some of the definitions that we have. We actually did solicit definitions from people over the internet and through the show.
Right.
And I want to actually look at some of these definitions, and we can see if is there any real consensus here, and two, does this definition actually make sense in any way?
We should also let our audience know too that if they have a definition of spiritual that's not being read here in the emails or mischaracterized by us, you can give us a call 206-421-5658.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. But you read that one off the screen. So the first major definition I've found of the word spiritual is just a synonym for religious. And this is the one that's used by traditional religious leaders, sometimes a lot of fundamentalists. So when Billy Graham has said that he's the unofficial spiritual advisor to the President of the United States, that's not what he's meaning. There's no differentiation. It's just using the same. It's like blue and azure or whatever.
Sure.
Just using two words that mean basically the same concept. So you're not using the same word over and over again. That's why you hear things like spiritual leaders, spiritual advisors. They're generally talking about very traditional people in very hierarchical faiths that have the same category you would call religion. Mm-hmm. The other one I found is spiritual is a euphemism for religion. This is folks that don't like the connotation of the word religion because it conjures images of, witch burnings or Pat Robertson of Osama bin Laden. Oh, those people are religious.
Right. It's the spiritual, not religious.
Yeah. The other thing is they really are still religious. They just don't like the word. These are still people who have very traditional beliefs in that way. They still go to church. They still sometimes even very conservative beliefs. But they just don't like that word, and that's where you get this group of people who like to use goofy terms like, I'm not a Christian, I'm a Christ follower. It's a distinction without a difference, and it's basically saying that, we're the true Scotsman. Right. That's essentially what it is. If you're not familiar with it, the no true Scotsman fallacy is, it's when somebody makes a general statement about all of one group, like the one in the example is that no true Scotsman puts sugar on his porridge. Oh, but that guy put sugar on his porridge. Well, he's not a true Scotsman.
Right. He's the exception that proves the rule, as they say.
So it's like they don't like the category. They don't like being put into a box with people that may potentially embarrass them. So instead, they create a separate box. And this is sort of similar to what the Bush administration did when they didn't like the legal connotations of the words prisoner of war.
Right.
So they just manufactured one called enemy combatant. And it's basically the same thing. But here's the thing. Atheists do this too. We're not immune to this kind of nonsense, as that the word atheist has these negative connotations that we are trying to take back, that people use it sort of interchangeably with somebody who doesn't believe in any meaning in their life. And atheists have come up with a big lame example, and it's called brights. And I know that some of our viewers may call themselves bright, in which case I would say you're a big dummy for doing that.
You're going to get those atheists really upset now.
I'm sorry,
all those brights.
Bright. It's like, how can a term be both so dainty and mincing and so arrogant and obnoxious at the same time, and at the same time so non-descriptive?
I like you probably just find that to be not the right word. I mean, what's wrong with atheist? It's pretty straight. It's pretty upfront about what it is that you believe.
Yeah, they said we don't believe in a god or gods. I mean, that's that simple. People sort of know that word, but I don't like that, so I'm going to make up a word. And I know that there are some people who do that with the word agnostic.
Right. I would also hate that the moniker that we use to identify ourselves also to have built in it that everyone who's not us is an ignorant asshole. You know? Like, that's not the way you want to sell it. Like, we're only talking about one thing and not believing one thing. We're not talking about how we're better than everyone else.
And there are dumb atheists out there. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with the Ray Aliens, which is that UFO cult out of Texas who believe that humanity was created in much the way the Celestials in Marvel Comics sort of picked people. It's basically intelligent design with sci-fi rather than fantasy elements.
Right.
But it's the same thing as I want a phrase that one is all-encompassing and can be used broadly. Atheist just simply means not a theist, not somebody who believes in gods. And it's simple. It's something that that encompasses a large group of people, and it doesn't involve any sort of injected, intended, or implied philosophical bent.
Right.
Here's the next one. We get into the categories I like to call spiritual and ... but not religious. Then we're talking about less dogmatic versions of largely traditional beliefs. This is where moderate religion comes in. And they like to draw this imaginary line between religion and spirituality by saying, okay, those people who are literalists, who believe this sort of thing dogmatically, those people are religious, we're spiritual. So we're more, say, tolerant of gays and women's rights and a lot of things like that. We're not as literal about things like, 6 calendar day creation or, this rejection of evolutionary biology just outright because it contradicts us. They're a bit more willing to make concessions to reality. And that's what they say, is that religion, those guys are loons, we're spiritual. Then there's the other one, the other spiritual but not religious category, which is less organized belief. This is a la carte faith. This is where somebody basically hit random on the religion button and get a bunch of crazy things sort of mixed in. They said, oh, well, religion, that's organized belief. Mine is disorganized belief, where it's sort of like I went around shopping and picked all the parts myself and built my own car, rather than going to that awful dealer who wants to tell me what CD player I'm going to have in my car.
Right, and I think we actually talked about this before, yeah, which is a lot of Americans have these, most of them have these weird mix and match beliefs, like a majority of Americans believe in reincarnation.
Is it a majority now? I thought a majority, like 60% believe in hell.
It's absolutely a majority. But, and most of these people will also either believe that Jesus Christ actually existed, or believe that he, is the
literally
Son of God.
coming back.
Yeah, literally the Son of God. But then they'll also have these weird things where, they don't understand that, like, the Christian doctrine doesn't support the fact that you're going to come back as a dung beetle in your next life. Like, that just doesn't happen, and it is mutually exclusive to their theology. But people just would much rather believe that they were Genghis Khan in a former life because it's more interesting to them.
Because it's Genghis Khan.
Yeah,
dude is a bad
Khan. No.
Okay.
Oh wait, not that Khan.
Not that Khan.
Okay.
This Khan, I believe, didn't have a fake rubber chest. Which, actually, the producers have said that was real. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But what we're talking about here is a hodgepodge of random religious beliefs, where you have somebody who injects some pagan beliefs, some Buddhist beliefs.
Right. Suddenly
they're talking about things like karma. Sometimes even crystals and ghosts, and just about anything you would see on either an episode of Doctor Who or any one of the sci-fi reality shows, which pretty much plays out like an episode of Doctor Who.
Man, I just nearly dropped the F-bomb there, but it was because I wanted to say, screw you, Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah.
Sci-Fi Channel used to be for sci-fi. Now it's for quantum cooking. Come on.
Well, it's still sci-fi.
It's SYFY, so they don't have to care about the science.
Well, less on the science, more on the fiction. But then there's spiritual as a synonym for theism, just any belief in a higher power, something bigger than yourself. What does that even mean, bigger than yourself?
Yeah,
like Andre the Giant is bigger than me, or was bigger than. Oh, he's still bigger than me. I doubt he's decomposed that much. He's still much larger than me. Spiritualism is sorry, Andre, you were awesome in The Princess Bride.
Yeah. And he has a posse.
He does have a posse, Obey the Giant. And there's spiritualist belief in a soul or spirit. But spirit is another word like that. It has two definitions. There's things like, you have team spirit in the same way that soul, James Brown is a godfather of soul. But I don't think they mean in the terms that he actually has a collection of like spirits that float around him.
I actually think having more of a soul makes you be able to dance better.
Yeah.
So some people have less soul, like if you imagine like it's a glass, like a glass of water. Some people have more soul and they're able to dance better to, it's a man's world than people who have less soul. The glass is a little.
Then I got beliefs in any kind of supernatural phenomenon, spirits, demons, fairies, seances. This is the Arthur Conan Doyle stuff I talked about earlier. Right. Spiritual, also in the sense of this is the other one too that we get a lot, and this is the Sam Harris one, which is belief in, it's sort of these experiences that are sort of emotional transcendence, awe, wonder, beauty, and sometimes natural phenomenon. These sort of transformative experiences that people have.
Right.